Welcome back to the English Scholar Online Camp. This video is the continuation of our Part 3 in Fundamentals of Grammar and Punctuation series. In Part 3-B, we talked about the three types of non-finite verbs, namely auxiliary verbs, infinitives, and participles. If you have not watched it yet, please do so by clicking the link below before you continue with this video. However, if you think you're already well familiar with these three, you may continue watching and see for yourself what you may have missed. In this video, we are going to finally talk about the rest of the categories of verbs. But as part of our efforts to make every video we post short, so as to not bore you, we decided to split this video into two, and one video will contain 5 categories of verbs, and the other one will contain 4 discussed. So basically, in this video, we are first going to tackle these 5: action verbs, stative verbs, light verbs, phrasal verbs, and conditional verbs. But before anything else, we would encourage you to subscribe and hit the notification bell for you to be updated whenever we upload new videos. Let's have first action or dynamic verbs. Action verbs are also known as dynamic verbs, and they are used to explain what the subject of a sentence is actively doing. For example, eat, drink, walk, jump, kick, and etc. For example, I always eat banana while walking my way home. Another example, he jumps to reach the balloon's thread. Action verbs are very important because they impact the meaning of a sentence. They not only say what the subject is doing, but also demonstrate the manner in which the subject is doing it. Take a look at these sentences. She was in the room. The students were in the library. These sentences are grammatically correct, but they do not give us the exact demonstration what the subjects are really doing. Why? Did you notice something? Correct, because there are no action verbs. Only helping verbs, the was and were. I am not saying that it is wrong to write such kind of sentences, because there are really times that we know that someone is there in a certain area, but we just do not know what he or she is doing. But if we know what the person is doing, then writing these kind of sentences is being uninformative. So we could instead say, she slept in the room, or the students studied in the library. That's more meaningful and more specific. Sentence 1 tells us exactly what she was doing in the room, and that was that she slept in there. Sentence 2, on the other hand, tells us exactly what the students were doing in the library, and that was that they were studying. And that's perfect. That's the big contribution of action verbs. Please do not be confused if our action verbs slept and studied are in past tense. We can also make them into future tense or present tense. However, they do not change the meaning of this discussion because we are just highlighting the importance of action verbs in making more impact in a sentence as discussed. Now that we see the importance of action verbs, let's move on to the second one: stative verbs. Unlike action verbs, stative verbs indicate the state or condition of the subject, such as thoughts or opinions, like agree, recognize, doubt, possession, or emotions like love, hate, fear, and joy, or senses like hear, taste, feel, look. For example, I love listening to music, or I feel like going home. We all agree to what the principal said. Stative verbs can be in the present, past, or future tense. However, because they describe static conditions, they are usually unable to progress through time, and they therefore cannot be used when forming the continuous or progressive forms of verb tenses. For this reason, they are sometimes referred to as non-continuous verbs or non-progressive verbs. For example, if you would like everybody to know that you own 11 luxury bags, then the right way to say this is, I own 11 luxury bags, instead of, I am owning 11 luxury bags. That is actually incorrect. See, the word own is a stative verb. Therefore, we cannot use them for continuous tenses. Also, this is wrong because it is actually saying you are still about to acquire those 11 luxury bags instead of you already having them in your possession. But if you want to make a point that you are still planning to own luxury bags, then you use the word buy, which is an action verb, in this sentence. And to make it continuous, we would say, I am buying 11 luxury bags. Now that's the correct one. Another example, telling everybody that you see their point. The correct way to say this is, I see your point, instead of, I am seeing your point. Again, see is a stative verb, so it is wrong to use seeing, especially in the context of realizing someone's point. This is wrong also because it is like you are seeing someone or about to meet someone. So, you are seeing your friend's point somewhere? That sounds unrealistic. Though it may be understandable, but it is grammatically wrong. That's a big no-no. We cannot make a continuous tense out of this sentence even if we change the am seeing to action verb because we really cannot do something when we talk about point other than to understand, realize, get, or see it in the mind. It talks about mind or abstract things, not physical. Compared to number one's sentence, we easily were able to turn the incorrect sentence to a correct one by changing the stative verb into action verb because we are talking about the 11 luxury bags which are physical things. So that is how we use stative verbs. They should always be in present, past, or future, but not continuous. We may actually use them in continuous, but in rare cases. That's going to be tackled in our advanced courses soon. Let's have number 3, light verbs. Light verbs do not carry unique meaning on their own, but instead, they rely on another word or words that follow them to become meaningful. They are commonly used to describe a general action other than specific. Common examples include do, have, and take. Candice, please do the dishes. The word do here is used as a substitute maybe for the words wash or prepare, because we can say, Candice, please wash the dishes, or Candice, please prepare the dishes. Do here is a light verb, because the word do is a general word for actions. The same with have, take, get, make, and etc. More light verbs to be discussed in advanced courses. Another example, I will take a shower. There is no specific word to be used as a substitute for the word take here for a specific action, and that's totally normal because there are really instances that they just mean as they do. But still, this one is stating a light or general action. Number 4, phrasal verbs. From the term itself, phrasal, rooting from the word phrase, phrasal verbs are verbs that pair with preposition or particles to create unique, specific meanings. These are largely idiomatic, which means that they don't make literal sense according to their individual parts. For example, Shane is picking on Andy. The underlined phrase is our phrasal verb. The word picking here is a gerund or ing verb, and on is a preposition. They are put together to make a phrasal verb, which means teasing. Shane is teasing Andy. Another example, the plane took off a few hours ago. The underlined phrase is our phrasal verb. The word took is a past form of take, and the word off is a particle. They are put together to make a phrasal verb, which means flew. The plane already flew a few hours ago. Last one for this video, we have conditional verbs. Conditional verbs are verb constructions that are used in conditional sentences, which describe a hypothetical outcome that is reliant upon another conditional situation being true. These sentences most often use the conjunction if with one of the verbs to express the conditional situation, and often use modal auxiliary verbs to describe the hypothetical outcome. For example, you would get better grades if you studied harder. Now, I want you to identify the hypothetical outcome of this sentence and the conditional situation and explain why you say so. You would get better grades here is our hypothetical outcome. Why? Because of the modal auxiliary verb would. And it is reliant upon our conditional situation if you studied harder. Why do we know this is the conditional situation? Because of the word if. Let's have another example. That paper will fall if the wind blows. The paper will fall here is our hypothetical outcome because of the modal auxiliary verb will, and it relies upon the conditional situation if the wind blows. That's conditional verbs. Let's pause there for now, gals. We hope you learned something. Thank you for watching and see you in the next video.